Anti-Semitism has long been a factor pushing Jewish people to make Aliyah to Israel from many countries in Eastern Europe and perhaps also Latin America. But in recent years, more and more Jewish people living in Western countries are reporting a feeling that they are no longer feeling safe from anti-Semitism, and this is motivating them to pursue Aliyah as well. Last Friday, the FBI arrested 19-year-old Sean Pitilia, a teenager in the U.S. state of Michigan, following online posts in which he expressed sympathy for neo-Nazi ideology and admiration for people who carried out mass shootings in the past. After he was arrested, the FBI conducted a search of his home and found firearms and other weapons, as well as military equipment and instructional manuals. A statement by the authorities included information they had found online, which included that Pitilia, this man, was in the late stages of a serious plan to carry out violent attack against synagogue in the community of East Lansing. A statement by Jewish community leaders thanked the FBI for the prompt handling of this case, which almost certainly prevented an attack. But one rabbi told the journalists this disturbed young man was foolish enough to talk about his plans online, and that helped the FBI to catch him before he acted. There are probably other disturbed young men out there making similar plans, but we can't count on that they all will do this foolish mistake. 38% of American Jews reported changing their behavior in 2022 due to fear of being the target of anti-Semitic behavior by their neighbors. Other Jewish groups, such as the Anti-Defamation League, indicate that fears are becoming more and more commonplace among American Jews and among non-Jews, and anti-Semitic attitudes are becoming more and more common. South of the border in Latin America, home to a small but vibrant Jewish community, anti-Semitism also there is growing to be a growing problem. Fernando Lautenberg, commissioner to monitor and combat anti-Semitism at the Organization of American States, OAS, recently told the media line that we have anti-Semitism from the right. Neo-Nazi cells, 500 of them, were found in Brazil, and from the left with exaggerated criticism of Israel and its delegitimization. So it's a complex issue, not so violent as we see in other countries, but in any case, worrisome. Another country with large Jewish population that has seen an upsurge in anti-Semitism is South Africa, where the problem is largely a byproduct of the government's deep ties with the cause of Palestinian nationalism. An AJC report from 2020 explains that the African National Congress, South Africa's growing governing party since the fall of apartheid in 1994, has long identified with the Palestinian cause, and its leaders have often sided with the boycott, divest, and sanction movement. So another Jewish community that's under duress right now and pressure is the B'nai Manasseh community in northeast Manipur and Mizoram. The small group has maintained a culturally distinct identity for hundreds of years and believes themselves to be descended from people from ancient Israelite tribe of Manasseh who arrived in the region as refugees from the war that resulted in the Assyrian exile of the 10 northern tribes. In recent years, they've been going through some real ethnic struggles, and this clash has claimed over 100 lives to date, including one member of the B'nai Manasseh community. Additionally, over 40,000 people have become internally displaced refugees. The Meskorot community, which handles the most recent issues in Israel related to water, announced that a project to upgrade infrastructure for water distribution among the Negev cities of Beersheba, Shokat, and Arad is steadily making progress. And even Bedouin villages in the regions are beginning to connect to the central distribution network, so water can be better distributed with desalinization and, of course, using gray water and drip irrigation and so on and so forth. So what does all this mean? In the world, it looks like the Jewish plight is becoming increasingly fraught with anti-Semitism. The US, Canada, South Africa, Western Europe, Australia have different forms of anti-Semitism on the rise, including classic examples like blood libels, theological errors, but even manifestations of such holding Israel to double standards, singling it out for unfair criticism in places like Northeast India. So no matter what, more and more people are trying to make Aliyah. Over 100,000 new immigrants have arrived in the last 18 months and have come from various degrees of interest in making their move. The Israeli government knows that these new immigrants will need many things, and the efforts are underway to improve the infrastructure, which will enable cities from here in the Galilee and all the way down to the Negev to absorb increasingly large numbers of residents. But, it is hard. The Aliyah Return Center is growing increasingly important as immigrants keep on coming here and need the food, clothing, shelter, job training, and so on. And we're so glad to be part of this work along with you. Thank you for standing in the gap for these new immigrants. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to keeping you posted as to the latest developments that relate to